Hi, I'm Solomon Mervis, and I'm interviewing Mr. Blondie. Um, our topic for today is about how to be a good problem solver, and I wanted to ask Mr. Blondie about what does he think some traits of good problem solvers are.
Thanks for having me, Solly. So, the first thing that I would say a trait would be having the ability to identify the problem. So, if you're able to identify it, then I think that helps you be able to solve that problem. Sometimes, if you aren't for sure exactly what it is, it's harder to come up with a plan. So, I'd say the first step is identify what that problem is, and then after that, being able to gather information to be able to make a decision on how best to come up with that solution.
Would you think that adaptability would be a good skill?
Absolutely, yeah. So, being adaptable to, because in any problem that we have, there is the potential for it not to be as clean or as clear of a solution. And so, when you try a certain solution or you're getting information from someone, it's always good to be able to adjust when there are considerations that come up that you didn't think about and go, oh, well, this may be another way to be able to solve this problem. So adaptability would be huge, yes.
What are your thoughts about what you should do when encountered with a problem? Like, as in, when you're in school and you're dealing with a situation, like with groups and a conflict like that, what would you think would be the best approach when dealing with a conflict of interest
Yeah, so
and opinions?
I think a big part when we talk about it like on a micro level is what we can do is be patient. And so when we take our time, what I see when problems become bigger, a lot of times it has to do with someone tries to do things a little bit quicker than what they need to be. And so being patient, I think, allows you to be able to come up with problems or come up with solutions to the problems. But when we rush through those types of things, sometimes it can get worse because we want to rush to be able to find a solution as opposed to being patient, taking in all of the information that you can before you proceed to try to solve the problem.
And about being patient, how can you diffuse a situation? Like, as in, whenever let's say we're headbutting in groups, there's one group member who wants A idea to like A idea, and there's another group member who wants B idea, and how can you best diffuse a situation in order to solve the problem?
So, I think modeling the proper behavior is important. Listening to other people is important. The tone of voice that you have, some of the other nonverbal communication. We at times become anxious, and our body language will show other people that we are impatient or anxious or angry, some of these other emotions that come out that have the potential to add to that problem and maybe not diffuse the situation. So our pacing with how we speak, the intonation and the words that we use, and like I said, some of the nonverbals can help, because if we speak differently, then that tends to, like, if we're talking too loud, if we're not making eye contact, we may not be as connected with that person. It may have the ability to raise their anxieties, and where you wanted to diffuse that problem, sometimes we make it worse by some of our own actions.
And what are some things that we shouldn't do when we're in a situation faced with conflict of interest, or maybe that we're dealing with something ourselves, or a conflict between a teacher and a student? What are some things that we should try and avoid?
So try to avoid the problem being personal, specifically with a teacher. Hopefully that teacher is a professional, and they look at their interactions on a professional level. And so we get in trouble as human beings. We take many different things personally. And so when there's that conflict, it may, and it also may not, have anything to do with me as a person, and it may be more of what you have gone through outside of the situation that we're in now. And so I would tell you, when you ask what not to do, I wouldn't take it personally, unless obviously it was something that someone knew about me personally. I also wouldn't project anything personally on someone else if we're talking about an academic setting and in a group setting, and I need you to be able to write a paragraph on a certain topic. Then I want to be specific about what it is that I would expect out of you, and it's not anything directed at me personally. You may not have the ability or have the prerequisite skills to be able to perform that task. And so if we look at things on a more professional level or an academic level, then we can avoid conflict by not taking things as personally.
So do you think it's extremely important to separate professionalism from personalism?
Yeah, most of the time, until you're able to, and that's when you build relationships and you try to learn more about people personally, then you can forge the two. I would avoid being personal with someone if I didn't have a lot of the information, the background information about them. And so one thing that I would, if I knew that I were working with someone, and like I work with students, and so I enjoy to establish relationships and learn more about each individual student, what their interests are, some of their family dynamics and their background, and that helps me to work with them in a professional way. And so initially, no, I wouldn't try to be I would not mix professional and personal. But the more that I got to know someone, the more that I established that relationship, then I would forge those two together.
I think that's good.
Okay.
I think that's all the questions I really had.
Awesome. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Well, I appreciate your time.
I appreciate
Thanks for
your
including
time.
me.